Hey everyone, Sharkart here. I've gotten a lot of new people asking me about which characters to use and level, so I thought I'd make this video to help everyone out. I also wanted to mention that we'll be doing a Welkin giveaway for our followers over on Twitch. So if you'd like a chance to win one of the several Welkin moons we're giving away, go ahead and go over to twitch.tv/Sharkart and follow for more updates. I'm going to go over the characters that you are guaranteed to get for free and which of those are the best to level, as well as giving you a bonus of telling you which characters to look out for that are definitely worth building, some of which you may also get for free in the future. You may have seen my starting strong guide that goes over tons of tips and things to avoid if you want to build a really great account from the get-go. And what I said was most important in that video was to understand that this game is all about resource management. If you manage your resources well, you're gonna have a good time, but if you don't,
gonna have a bad time.
With that in mind, I want to recommend characters who will be worth investing into for the early, middle, and end game. Now, any character can be good with enough investment, but these are the characters that have a lot more versatility and require less investment than the others to be great. We'll go over the best characters that you can get for free first, and then talk about the viability of other non-free characters. And I won't be including any 5 stars on this list because the chance of getting a 5-star character is about 1 in 200 without pity. And I don't want people to think that they need 5-star characters in order to progress. So let's dive into the best characters you can get for free. The first section we'll talk about are characters that are viable in both the early, middle, and end game, and in many different situations and teams. And the first one happens to join your party pretty soon after you start. And that character is Kaeya. Kaeya has a lot of advantages going for him. He has low cooldown with good energy generation and nice damage on his skill. He's got a good burst that follows your character, and he reduces your sprint stamina consumption, and his auto attacks are not bad to boot. While I don't jive with Kaeya's aesthetics, I can't deny how good he is as a character. Couple that with his ability to run Blizzard Strayer for tons of crit rate, and you have a great character that can be a carry or main DPS, and one that you can easily transition into a sub DPS later in the game. As you eventually get more powerful characters and are able to build more synergistic teams, you might find yourself coming back to Kaeya. Kaeya works very well in freeze teams, melt teams, as well as super conduct teams to reduce physical resistance. Though I would recommend either a freeze team or a melt team when using Kaeya. The next character we'll talk about you can't get until after AR20, but boy is she worth it once you get her. And that would of course be Xiangling. You get Xiangling for free after completing the 3rd floor of the Spiral Abyss, and she is a really great character to build. Xiangling is an incredibly strong pyro DPS because of her elemental burst. Like Kaeya's, it follows your character around and allows you to do damage even when you switch out and Xiangling is not on the field. Unlike Kaeya's burst however, Xiangling's burst has a much larger AoE range, and it ignores the elemental reaction internal cooldowns, meaning that every hit can be part of a reaction to do more damage. Now Xiangling does have energy issues, and her elemental skill Goba is kinda dumb sometimes. But many people, including myself, still use her in Endgame Abyss because once you can solve her energy issues, she becomes an absolute powerhouse of a support DPS. What's even better is that once you unlock fishing in Inazuma, you can get a weapon called the Catch, which is an amazing free weapon that will make Xiangling hit even harder while also solving some of her energy problems. The next characters I want to talk about are not only free, they are also endgame viable, but in more limited situations and teams. The first of which is Noelle. Noelle can be a really strong main DPS, but she needs her entire team to support her. She doesn't generate any energy on her own, and thus it's hard to keep up her elemental burst. But with a team of Geo units to help give her energy, she can be a tank that also heals and does damage. Unfortunately, because you get most of the damage out of doing elemental reactions like Vaporize and Melt, Geo teams often fall behind as they cannot produce these damaging elemental reactions. Noelle also does a whole lot more damage once you unlock Constellation 6, which for many players won't be for a long time. The next character we're going to talk about is the Geo Traveler. If you like using Noelle, then the Geo Traveler is a great companion for her. The Geo Traveler can deal decent damage on his or her own, but they also have the ability to buff the crit rate of your party members. Running 2 Geo characters on the same team also gives you access to Geo Resonance, and provided you can maintain a shield, this resonance significantly buffs your damage and is one of the best in the game. And again, because geoteams do not cause any damaging elemental reactions, they are often not used as much in the Spiral Abyss, but that doesn't mean they are not usable. In fact, I've used a Noelle Geoteam to 36-star the Spiral Abyss in the last several patches. And while I enjoy using them, I also recognize that other teams will clear faster and be better for most players. But if you do like using Geo, don't shy away from them, just realize that you may have to work a little bit harder to make them as good as other characters, and the flexibility you have with them is a lot more limited. The next round of characters we want to talk about are ones that are very useful early in the game, but are rarely, if ever, used at the end game. And this character you get for free is Barbara.
Hi there, traveler.
Now everyone gets a copy of Barbara for free, and she is great early game. Now Barbara is a healer, but she can also be a buffer by carrying the 3-star weapon, the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. Using this weapon, she can give a giant attack boost to the party member she switches into. Unfortunately for Barbara, she only brings healing, and even with the Ocean-Hued Clam set, she contributes very little to your team's damage. There are some cases where Barbara is very, very helpful in the endgame Abyss, but honestly those are very niche situations, and I would not build Barbara to a high level just for those specific situations. I personally would not recommend leveling her past 50 or 60, but having a healer on your team, especially in the early and mid game, can make things so much easier for you. In summary, Kaeya and Xiangling are great characters that work both in the early and end game and work in a variety of situations. Noelle and the Geo Traveler can also be quite powerful, but they have a lot more limited uses as you progress. Finally, Barbara is a great healer for you early on, but is pretty lackluster in the mid and end game. Now while these are the free characters everyone is guaranteed to get, you may also get other free characters from time to time. But before I reveal how to get these free characters and which ones are best to invest in, make sure to place your fin on that like button and subscribe for more. The characters I'm talking about are ones that we may get for free from special events. So far we've got Diona, Fischl, Xinyan, and Beidou, all from various special events. Now you may also be able to pick up a character from the Star Glitter shop. While this is not exactly free, if you're wishing anyways and you haven't gotten one of these characters, it's very much worth picking them up from the shop if you don't have them already. And of course, you might be able to get these characters on banners as well, so it's a good idea to look out for them on the limited character banners to see when they pop up. And even though these characters are not guaranteed for everyone, they are very much worth building if you get them. And I wanted to list them here so you can keep an eye out for them, as a few of them might be coming up soon. Also keep in mind that these are all 4-star characters, so you have a much better chance of getting them as compared to 5-star characters. The reason these characters are worth building is because they are very, very viable in the endgame and work in many situations and teams. The first of which is Bennett. Bennett, easily the best 4-star in the game and almost universally considered to be the most broken character in the game, period. 4 stars or 5 stars included. Bennett can be a DPS, a healer, a support, a buffer, and he generates a ton of pyro energy for the team. If you get Bennett, he should be your priority investment over just about anyone else. Xingqiu. This Hydro DPS reaction support also gives damage reduction and passive healing. Similar to Bennett, just about every character that can utilize Xingqiu's abilities really wants him on their team. This includes about every Pyro character in the entire game, as well as a lot of Electro characters for Electro Charge teams, and even some Cryo characters for Freeze teams. Xingqiu is highly in demand and highly versatile, so if you get him, definitely build him. Sucrose. Sucrose is highly underrated because Kazuha exists, but she's actually on par with him. And you don't even need to level her auto attack, skill, or burst to do great damage with her. This is all thanks to the swirl mechanics and the 4-piece Viridescent Veneer set. Simply put a 4-piece Viridescent Veneer set on her with as much elemental mastery as possible and watch her shred elemental resistances while becoming one of the top damage amplifiers for Pyro, Cryo, Electro, and Hydro in the entire game. Keep in mind that you need a 4-piece Viridescent Veneer set on her, which you might not be able to reliably farm until Adventure Rank 40+, but ideally Adventure Rank 45+, so you might want to wait to build her if you have other characters you'd like to build in your roster first. Rosaria. Think of Rosaria as another version of Kaeya, who you may remember is a great character. She's a cryo character that has a short elemental skill cooldown, actually the same as Kaya's, 6 seconds, and that also generates good energy, and she has a strong elemental burst. What she also brings to the table is that she shares a portion of her crit rate with the team. Even though she's similar to Kaya, she is not redundant, as the two actually synergize really well together, so having both of them on the same team can work out quite well. Kaya and Rosaria work very well in a freeze or reverse melt team, because you can quick swap between them to apply lots of cryo very quickly. Fischl. Fischl is our favorite off-field turret. With Fischl, it's all about her raven friend Oz. Both Fischl's elemental skill and burst leave Oz on the field to shoot little electro bullets at enemies. Fischl's Ascension 4 passive makes these electro bullets stronger and an AoE when they're a part of elemental reactions. Fischl is also an energy battery, as Oz generates tons of energy particles, which is especially great for electro characters. Beidou. Beidou is a really powerful and satisfying character to use if used correctly. She has an incredibly strong counter, but you need to hit it perfectly to get it to work well and to generate the most energy. Her burst also deals a ton of electro damage and gives you a shield. There are some caveats with Beidou though. She definitely needs a lot of energy and is very energy hungry, especially if you're not getting the perfect counter every time. So you often see Fischl and Beidou on the same team, as Fischl can provide her with more electro energy, so you can use her very strong elemental burst off cooldown. Finally, Diona. Diona is a shielder and a healer, and if you get her, I'd recommend building her over Barbara, as she can provide more utility, especially paired with another cryo character to unlock Cryo Resonance. When you have two cryo characters in your party, they gain 15% crit rate against enemies who are affected by cryo. This is really great, especially coupled with the Blizzard Strayer artifact set, which gives you an additional 20% crit against enemies affected by cryo, and a further additional 20% crit for a total of 40% crit rate against enemies that are frozen. So with a frozen enemy, a 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, and Cryo Resonance, a character who is dealing cryo damage can have a 55% crit rate without any crit stats at all. This is another reason Diona is really valuable. Now keep in mind, she won't be doing much damage, but she can heal, she can shield, she can apply cryo on Cryo Resonance or freeze teams, and with the Favonius Warbow that you get for free, she can also help your team generate more energy to quickly recharge their elemental bursts. As you progress in the game, you can also give her a Noblesse Oblige set to increase your team's attack when she uses her elemental burst, allowing you to both heal and buff damage at the same time. So if you're looking for a good utility pick and don't have one, Diona is a great option for you. Now those are the characters that I would recommend investing into if you get them. If a character you have didn't make this list, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they have fewer situations where they can really shine, or that they need more specific units for them to really work well. This character may in fact be really good, but less versatile than the characters mentioned here. And this is sort of becoming the trend with MiHoYo. They're releasing characters that are very good in specific situations, but outside of those situations, they're really not the best. I hope this helps you and gives you some direction on which characters are worth building and focusing on. I included characters that can be used in a variety of situations and will not only be viable and great in the early game, but also at endgame, as well as ones that I see as future-proof as well. Now if you'd like to learn more about team building, or how a specific unit functions and how to build a certain character and maximize their potential, leave a comment below on what you'd like to see in the next video. I've got a few things in the works, but honestly they are turning out to be a lot more involved and detailed than I planned, so I wanted to get your feedback on what you all want the most. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys very much. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and as always, may order guide you, friends. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.